Hi everyone, my name's Michelle and I'm Mama Loves UGB here on FlossTube, but also on Instagram as well. Welcome along to the Sunday morning briefing. It is Sunday, and I'm going to have to have a look because I get it wrong, the 11th of April 2021, and this is FlossTube number 25. So, I've got the sun streaming in through the window. It is about 6:30 here in West Wales, but obviously we get the light right to the very end of the day, so the sun is absolutely streaming through the window. I've had a lovely week. It's been the last week of the Easter holiday, so back to work for me on Monday. And yeah, it's just been a really nice, really chilled week. We got the van back, so thankfully it wasn't the gearbox, it was the drive shaft, which was not as expensive as I'd feared it was going to be. It was just over 300 quid, so it was a little bit ouchy, but it wasn't as horrendous as I thought it was going to be. So let's have a look and see what I've been up to this week. I've been doing quite a lot of stitching, but not on very many different projects. I've also become a proper FlossTuber now. I shall show you why I am now a proper FlossTuber. I bought myself a Ray Dunn mug, partly because of my just general anger and disappointment at the van, but partly because this one particularly came up on eBay, and when my daughter was first born, for several weeks I called her the little bird lady, because she just had these really long spindly little legs, little twig legs, and so she still got them. She's really tall, but yeah, this one came up and it said Mama Bird on it. It's got a little bird on the inside. Nobody told me how massive these mugs were. That is a monster cup of tea, and actually it is the perfect stitching mug, because there's been a few nights this week where I've had a cup of tea, and so has Chris, and he's gone to drink his and he's gone, oh, it's gone cold, and I've gone mine and I'm like, oh, mine's still warm, because this is a massive thick mug and it holds a copious volumes of liquid. So yeah, cheers. I haven't actually got tea in mine today. I've got fizzy pop, as Ness would call it. Fizzy pop. Right, let's have a look and see what I have got to tell you today. First things first. So I showed you this last week, Joy O'Bew, which I had stitched in honour of my friend and colleague. And I had a few people who contacted me across the course of the week asking if they could have the chart for it, which absolutely no problem at all. You can definitely have the chart for it. I need some sky hooks in this house. I think I say that every week. You can definitely have the chart for it. That's absolutely no problem at all. But what I thought I would do, and I've been thinking about this for a little while, is I've created a JustGiving page, which I'm going to put a link to in my show notes. And I'm going to put the links to all the various different patterns that I've created. So the Joy O'Bew one, the Stay Classy one, and also the Unfinished Sampler #1 that I've done. And if you would like to have any of those charts, you are more than welcome to have them for free. You can just go to the link to my Google Drive and you can download them from there. But if you would like to give a small donation to my JustGiving, so I'm doing one for Macmillan for cancer, which is obviously in memory of my friend, but also my dad. My dad passed away in 2009. He had lung cancer initially, which, you know, as it does, migrated around, and so it's basically in honour of both of them. So if you would like to have any of these charts, you're more than welcome to have them, and if you could add a little donation into the JustGiving, then that's absolutely brilliant. If you do it once, you don't have to do it every time. If you never do it, that's absolutely fine. If you do it every time, that's brilliant. So it really is, so I can stay there, it really is entirely up to you, but the option's there if you would like to, or if maybe that's a cause that that's close to your heart as well. What else have I got? Oh, the spool. So I had lots of questions from last week's video when I showed you my Puntini spools, about how big it was and various other things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some information about it. So if you want to grab a pen and paper, if you want to jot anything down, then I will tell you a little bit about the spool. The first thing, and this is sort of a general piece of information about, I guess, spools and drums in general, about any of them, is that you will see at the back I've got quite a gap. Not only a band where there's no stitching, I've got a tiny little gap there. It would pull together. I think when you're making a drum or putting something on a spool, you have to be a little bit careful about what size you go for and how it actually looks from the front. I could have used a smaller spool for these, but it wouldn't have had the same effect. Because even with a long month like January, because I've gone for the size I've gone for, you can see most of the month of January and you can work it out what it is. If I'd gone for a smaller spool, you would have only been able to see a few letters and you would have lost the effect of the month and being able to tell what it is. And I think that's really important when you're making a drum or when you're making a spool, is does it actually look right from the front? Can you actually tell what it's meant to be, or is it so curved round that you really can't make out what it is? So first of all, the stitching, and I remember this without having to measure it, let's see if that'll fall off there. The stitched piece is 10 inches long and 4 inches wide. Okay, so that's my final stitched piece. Once I've backed it as well, it's 10 inches long and 4 inches wide, and I've added a ribbon tie to each end, and I've got about 8 inches of ribbon tie. I just eyeballed that one. And then the spool itself, I bought a tape measure up. So the spool itself is stained on the ends but not in the middle, just so it's not next to the stitching. The actual gap there is 4 inches, so obviously that's why my stitching is 4 inches wide. It is a 10-inch circumference. Again, obviously that's why my stitching is 10 inches in length. And then, other than that, the top and bottom lip, it doesn't really matter how big or wide they are. They're just there for decoration and to make it look like a spool. But for those of you who want to know, the diameter of my spool is just under 4 inches across the widest part, and there's probably about 1/4 of an inch lip on it. So if you've got a local turner or somebody who could make you something like that and you wanted to do the months as the spools, that's how I kind of worked it out as to what sort of size. The charts themselves are all very similar size. They are not exactly the same size. Well, they're certainly not exactly the same width, which is why I gave a little bit of leeway either side on mine, and why my first spool that I had wouldn't have worked, because it was so tight that it only just fit. Now I haven't actually got one of the charts to hand to tell you, but my measurements are good there. So 10 inches is the length of my piece that I've made, and that's 4 inches there, and that is on 32 count beige Murano. 32 count beige Murano. So I hope that answers the questions for those of you that had asked me about what size it was. I think you've got all the measurements you might need there. Right, let's show you some stitching. So I'm having an arson gear, I nearly said April, no it is April, I nearly said August. I'm having an arson gear April this time. I had an arson gear August last time, and I probably will have another one of those again. And I've worked on 3 things, one of which was a new start, which doesn't really follow with the whole getting things finished, but I've not done too bad. I haven't ironed anything. So what have I done with the board? There it is. sunshine is streaming in. Before I forget, there's me just fettling my hair, before I forget, there won't be a FlossTube on the Sunday the 25th of this month, because that's when I'm going home to get my hair cut, yay! So, well, that's not the only reason, but I am going home and I am getting my hair cut, and that's exciting. So the first thing that I've worked on is this one, which is, now I'm going to butcher this, Vodanoi, by Owl Forest Embroidery. Now I got this as a kit, and it came obviously with everything. I did do an unboxing of this quite a while ago. It's the video called something about a visit from the postman as well. So I've just kept it all in the little box. For those of you who've not seen an Owl Forest Embroidery kit before, the chart is interesting. You get one big colour copy, and then you also get a smaller, well, it's the same size piece of paper, and I'm going to have to try and show it that way. Can you see through where there's little bits of the chart and there's gaps? And the idea is that you cut out this little bit of the chart and you have it on your actual stitching, so being held by your needle minder. And because this chart has got sort of like a symmetrical border, they give you one chart of the border, and then you just turn it various different ways to put on your stitching, or you can just refer back to the big chart, which is basically what I do. Comes with, oops, oh, I've got a right rat's nest going on here. Right, it comes with all of the flosses. Now the flosses are beautiful to use, but they are pretty variegated. They come as these little bobbins, and on the bobbin, they don't have a hole in them, I put my own holes in them. On the bobbin there is the actual symbol. Don't do what I did and put your hole right through where the symbol was and then have to rewrite them in the top corner. But because I prefer mine on these kind of thread drops, I cut holes in mine and made the little bobbins into thread drops. And because this was a kit, it came with a little needle minder as well, which I've not really used, because when you stitch in hand you don't really, as much as I love needle minders, you don't really use them that much. So just a little sturgeon. And then this is where I've got two. So before, nearly had an avalanche then. So before I started stitching on this week, I think I had some of him done, the head of the fish mostly, no, not the head of the fish at all, the tail of the fish, this watermill, the stalks, and a couple of the lobsters. Now this is showing much darker than it actually is. Probably about there is the colourway, but as you can see I've got quite a bit done, and I'm hoping that I can get this one finished this month. The border's pretty intricate, and those sturgeons there, oh, they're not difficult at all, but I just couldn't get them. I just couldn't get them. So yeah. So hopefully he'll be one of the things that will be cleared out of the decks for this month. And then there's my needle just at the top there. And I was watching somebody's FlossTube this week. That might be somebody that I'm going to mention, but I can't remember if it was or not. Sorry, I can't remember. And they recommended leaving your last little bit of cotton in your needle, so that when your needle, if and when your needle falls out, you've got a cotton tail to find it with, rather than just your bare foot. So I sort of do that anyway, just out of general laziness, but it turns general laziness into a good tip, so I was happy with that. Okay, the next thing that I did was I couldn't help but start Christmas Deer. So this is this kit that I got, that I showed you last week, by Luca S, Christmas Deer. And if you remember, I got this from LVK Needlecraft, and the code that I gave you, the discount code for 10% discount, is still working. And Verity said that they were getting some more of this particular chart in stock this week. So if this was the one that you really fancied, then check out the details below. There's a link to the website and the code and everything. So this is on 18 count, and it's a pre-gridded Ada, but it's not kind of pre-gridded in any way that I've seen before. And when I was watching back the video last week, it looks like normal pre-grid, but it really isn't. Instead of having a grey line, it's got just a darker cream line. So this is where I got to so far. This just had a couple of evenings of stitching. So the chart is only on 4 pages. They are 4 A3 pages, but it's a good size chart. So I'm just working on this section at the top, and I haven't ironed it actually because I didn't really know what the iron would do to the markings. I think they only come out if you wash them, but if anybody's got any experience with Luca S kits, can I iron this without the lines going? Let me know. And so that's where I am. Really, really clear, really nice to stitch, and I'm really enjoying it. So who knows, I might get a first sort of full coverage. Well, actually it's not my first full coverage, I've done stockings and stuff before, so yeah, I might get a finish for that in time for Christmas, you never know. And this is the last thing that I've worked on this week, and I have worked on this a lot. I have just been, it's been a really long time since I've been absolutely what I would call obsessed by a project, and this I've been absolutely obsessed by this week. It is my broken baseball by With My Needle, and this is Quaker Samplings number 3. And I'm actually going to put a picture up of where I showed it last week, just because I had to look up on my own video I did earlier on actually, to see how far I'd gotten with this chart, because I knew I'd done quite a bit. So, and again, apologies for the lack of, take that off there, apologies for the lack of ironing. And this will make you laugh as well, this chart, if I can get it all on. So I've managed to get, let's just show it without the board. The board is doing nothing for it. So as you can see, I've managed to get all of the alphabet in, and I've managed to work my way from one side to the other. Now the reason that I worked my way from one side to the other was because when I started stitching on this, I didn't realise quite how wonky this piece of fabric was. And I've got to the bottom corner over on this side with about an inch to spare. So I'm going to frame this myself, so it's not too much of a problem. But when I showed it to you last week, as you'll have seen in the picture, I think I had the A and the B, maybe the C done, and I had this and part of this one. And so I've managed to sort of hop, skip and jump my way over the other side. So this is a 36 count platinum, I think. I think it's platinum rather than cream, although when I get my Florence May Piggin back, because she's been at school all Easter, when I get her back, I know she's definitely on platinum, so I'll be able to compare the two, but I think it's platinum. And I've been using one strand of sulky thread. So the sulky thread that I've been using is this one. What a sorry little sight that is now. It's 1169, and this was a new spool, or very nearly a new spool when I started, so I've pretty much used up one spool. And as I've shown you, the top of the spools do lift up so that you can trap your cotton in there so it won't all unravel, unless you're really heavy-handed with them and just pull them off altogether. Now, I need to ask you guys a question. What do you think? So, oh, I've got the same one on today. On here, there are several little acorns. So there's one there, there's two there, there's a couple up here, one there, two there, and one down there. Now, I was wondering about doing the acorns in a slightly different red. So still keeping it as a red sampler, but just maybe picking out the acorns and doing them in a different colour. And I can't make up my mind whether I should or not. So there's the colour. And I was thinking about either going, I don't think the dark is going to show, I think I'm going to have to go lighter. Just maybe going a little bit lighter and just having the acorns done in a slightly different red. So this red is 0169 from Sulky. So yeah, let's just fold that there. And so just to have the acorns done in a brighter red. And I really can't make up my mind. So let me know in the comments below what you think. And I'll see. But I'm absolutely loving 36 count with one strand of sulky thread. I'm just constantly thinking about what else I can stitch now. I have actually got the big Quaker friendship sampler which I started. I haven't got much of a start, but I think I started it on a 29 count. It was a weird one. A 29 count using 2 strands of floss. Actually a Silks for You red, and I haven't really touched it since, so I'm thinking about getting some 36 count and doing the Quaker Seasons of Friendship sampler. Seasons of Friendship by Crown and Thistle. I'll put a picture of it up here and hopefully you know the one I mean. Right, so I have got left to talk about some FlossTubers that I've been watching. I've got a couple of freebies for you, and I've got some hauls. So I've got some I'm hacked off with the van haul, and I've also got some little bit more of not market, Needlework Expo haul. So I'll show you those. Honestly, I'm so delighted with this mug. Don't get me wrong, I'm not starting a collection because I'm not remortgaging, but I love it. I love it. Right, FlossTubers. Now, the first one that I just want to mention is Amy Loves Toads. And I love watching Amy Loves Toads. I really love watching her updates and the joy that she gets with all of her stitching, and just her projects. Her projects are absolutely divine. They are right up my alley, lots of them. So I just love it. And she mentioned the Crafty Curator. I can't say it. The Crafty Curator. Now, I think I've probably heard the name, but I've never watched her channel. And Amy said, oh, she's doing a massive whip parade. She's got like 6 whip parade shows already because she's busy going through a huge cabinet that she's got of all of her different whips. And I'm like, I am there. I am right there. And so I tuned in to the first of the whip parade. So I haven't gone right back and gone all the way through the other videos. But I started at number 1 of the whip parade, so the most recent whip parade. Now I'm sure I'm preaching to the converted here and I am the last one to the party because I normally am. But her name is Letitia and she is glorious. I absolutely love watching her and listening to her. And I hope she won't mind me saying, but she's what I would call an old soul. She's definitely been here before. She's got it sorted. Her outlook on life is amazing, and she talks about her spirit, and I'm like, yeah, I know what you mean about your spirit and how your spirit's been damaged this last sort of 12 to 18 months, and she just sees the world in a really lovely way. And she's definitely been here before. She's got it sorted. So if you've never seen her before, from watching the videos that I've seen of her, it seems like she's taken quite a long break from FlossTube, so 12 to 9 months, something like that, or 9 to 12 months should I say. So you may not have watched her recently or realised that she'd made a comeback. So yeah, go and check her out. She's absolutely phenomenal, a firm favourite, and I think I've got a good few years worth of back watching to do there. I watched Colette the Highway Stitcher again. I love watching her and seeing all her progress, and she showed some of her lace making things, which is really lovely. That just to me looks so complicated. I couldn't even think about where you might start with that. Yeah, I just couldn't even imagine, but it's brilliant. And Made by Michelle McGraw is continuing storming it with her year of smalls. So if you want some techniques for making smalls and some finishes, she is really rocking it along with her dough bowl, which now I've got my tiered tray. I think the next thing I'm going to need is a dough bowl, although I don't know where I'm going to put it. I need sky hooks. Right, I don't need that anymore. Okay, so this is going to be the freebies. The next bit's going to be the freebies. So I've got two to show you. Now I don't know if you know, but the theme for Needlework Expo was the Moo the Merrier. So that's why you might have seen quite a lot of charts with cows and things like that on. And a few stitchers have done freebies, and I've got two here. One is my the lovely Lindy Stitches, and the other one is Janine McGowan from the Blue Flower. Now I downloaded both of these from Hobby House Needleworks. I'm going to put it along the bottom. I think that's the name. Now they are a brilliant needlework shop, or it looks absolutely amazing in America, in the States. And I know I've seen loads of people who've ordered from them, and it looks amazing. Obviously, being in the UK, they're not somebody that I've ordered from, but if I had, I quite often think about what I'd do if I win the lottery. I'd probably spend too much time thinking about what I would do if I won the lottery. But, you know, basically a big sort of needlecraft tour of the States, a big cross-stitch tour of the States, and going to all the shops, and I would definitely be going there because it just looks incredible. Anyway, I digress. So they have got on there a little section of their website where you can download freebies. So these are the two that I downloaded. So this is Lindy Stitches one. So I'm going to just fold it in half. You can go and grab the chart from them. So this is the Lindy Stitches one, the Moo the Merrier, and this one's charted in sulky. Ooh, excuse me. And then the next one, I'm going to put a picture of the colour one here, and this is by the Blue Flower. Oh, and there it goes all to pop. It's the size of my face. So yeah, go along and download those as well. This one is also charted in sulky. Now I'm wondering whether there was something about that you charted in sulky to be part of the Moo the Merrier. I can't remember. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Nobody needed to see that little coughing fit, which has just left me with streamy, watery eyes. Oh, something not good there. Right, what else have I got in my little stash bin over here? I managed to grab another unfinished sampler. So this is going to be the third in my unfinished sampler series. Now this girl is definitely a girl after my own heart, because she's actually written her name on this one. This one's named. So I'll show it to you. I'll try and keep the glare off of it, because I didn't want to actually take it out of the frame. It's only just sat in this frame, it came in it, but I didn't want to actually take it out of the frame. So it says Jane Mellor's Applehead, work completed, work finished, sorry, 1823 at the top there. Now that is exactly the sort of thing that I would do. Pretty much the first thing I'm going to do is put my name and the fact that I finished it on it before I've even finished it. And there's a couple of amazing little flying birds up here. There's the start of a border. Heaven only knows what that is. Half a tree. Now, at the bottom, we have got a little guy. Obviously, we've got a big apple tree. We've got this little fella here with his sort of pantaloons on, and he's okay. And then we've got, I'm going to try and show you the girl, and then we've got the girl. She has got the biggest, squarest head I've ever seen on anybody that's been stitched. I didn't notice when I saw this advertised for sale. I just assumed that I couldn't really see it very well. But she's got 2 eyes, obviously, that's a good start. And then the little red line for her mouth. But her face literally just goes straight down into her neck. So she has got a beefy jawline. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased with that. And when I chart it, I will chart obviously that at the top, that, the border, the half a tree, because I think you could probably finish the tree off quite easily, and then just these people. And actually what I'll also do, because I think it would be fun, is chart the people and then put Jane Miller's Applehead, work finished 1823, and have it as a long strip, because then I think you could make a really nice drum if you didn't want to finish the sampler. Now, I have tried to find something about Jane Mellor's Applehead, and I can't find anything about her. And the lovely Christina from Wild Cyrus Naps also had a little look for me, and she couldn't find anything either. We wondered whether she might be American, so if anybody in the States has got access to any of the sort of ancestry type software, anything like that, and you pop her name in and see what comes up, that might be interesting. I wondered whether Applehead was a place, whether she was just Jane Mellor's and Applehead was a place, because it's spelt quite unusually, A-P-P-L-E-H-E-D rather than H-E-A-D. And I just was looking actually to compare the D and the A, just to see whether that D was an A that she hadn't finished either. But no, they are different. So yeah, she will be number 3 in the Unfinished Sampler series. So yeah, a few weeks, months time, she'll appear, and if you want to, you can have a go at finishing her. Next bit of haul. I've had this one ordered for ages. Now if you follow me on Instagram, or you've seen my other little floss tube that I put up this week, I did go through and just take pictures of all of the charts in here, not the charts obviously, the finished pieces in here, so that people could see what was in here. This is Cross Stitch for the Earth by Emma Congdon from Stitchrovia, and on the back you can see a few of the charts, but there are 20 in here. Each of the charts, just see if I can show you a tiny corner. So there, each of the charts is coloured. There's no black and white versions in here, they're all full colour charts. And most of them are across 2 pages, all charted with DMC, but it is a really lovely book with some amazing charts in it. Now this is her second book. Her first book is called Cross Stitch for the Soul, and I'll put a picture of it up here if you haven't already seen it. I'm sure you've seen it. I passed on the first book. I love her style, but I just didn't think that I would need or want 20 of the sort of saying charts. There was definitely a couple in there that I really liked, but this, I would say, has got more variety to it. It's not just all about the saying that's in there, and you may disagree with me about the first book, and that's entirely your prerogative. Oh my gosh, I'm like being possessed by a throat goblin. Ugh. Right, let's try again. So, but yeah, I can definitely see me taking, even if I don't stitch every single piece in here, which I'm sure I won't, but I can see me taking elements of the charts for various different things, even if I don't stitch the whole thing. So yeah, this is really good. I got mine on Amazon, and I got it on the day that it was released. I think it's going to be released later this month in the States, just from what people have said in reaction to the little clip I put up. And there were lots of people actually who'd said, oh, I was in two minds about this, but now I've seen the charts in there, I'm definitely going for it. So a little bit of extra haul. I picked this up on eBay, which is Ruth Batchelor 1717, which is by A Scarlet Letter, and it does come with the DMC and with a piece of Zweigart linen as well. Looking at it, I would say it's 28 count, and I don't know, I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to replace the DMC, because the DMC is quite old. Not that there's a problem with that, I just wouldn't want to have to buy new halfway through. I think I'd maybe rather just re-kit it and make sure I've got at least 2 or 3 of each one, because I think on 28 count that is probably going to take more thread than originally came in the kit, but I don't know, it won't take much just to re-kit it. And then what else did I get? Pick that up on Stash and Load, because I must be the only stitcher who doesn't have one. I'm a needle worker. Really like that, but we'll probably change the colours. I think I will end up with a red house rather than a blue one, but who knows, everything's red at the moment for me, everything has to be red. I then picked up these from Peakside Needleworks. Bigfoot Bunch, sorry, can't read, and Abominable Bundle. And now I loved these when they first came out. My daughter's name is Ness, but we very rarely call her Ness, we normally call her Squatch, which is short for Sasquatch. So yeah, as soon as I saw those, I was like, had to get them. I think they came originally as an exclusive for Linen and Threads in Australia, and then now they've been released. So I grabbed both of those from Peakside, and then I have a little bundle. Oops, didn't put that in a very good place. A little bundle from Patchwork Rabbit. So I just want to tell you about Patchwork Rabbit and about this link. So Carla at Patchwork Rabbit messaged me and she said, do you know what? She said, I don't even have to watch your FlossTube most of the time. She said, I can see exactly what you've talked about by what gets sold on a Sunday and a Monday. And she said, I want to, you know, recognise that. So the link that she's given me doesn't cost you anything extra. All it does is it lets her know that you have used my link, that you've come to the Patchwork Rabbit shop via my FlossTube, and I get a very small percentage of what you spend, basically. And you know, I think she's fully aware that I'm just going to spend it back with her anyway. So it's just a circular thing, but I just wanted to be upfront with you about what it is about. So my link is in the description box below. So if you're going shopping at Patchwork Rabbit, I'd much appreciate it if you use my link, and I'd much appreciate it if you'd remind me to use my link as well. Right, so first thing is my fabric of the month. I get 36 count and I get a fat eighth, and I find that's plenty. Actually, I find that's a really good size, because I can definitely get one project on it usually, and most of the time I get a couple of things on there. So that's Relic, and Relic is a really sort of beautiful colour. It's pretty showing pretty true there. I got another bit of my Needlework Expo, which was Lucy Bean, Call for the Doctor, which I absolutely loved when that came out. I really love it. It says, call for the doctor, call for the nurse, call for the lady with the alligator purse. And actually, when it came with that fabric, I was like, that definitely could happen. I also picked up a few threads, and they were Gentle Arts flax and then some Valdanis, because I've been trying to kit up Manor at Peacock Hill for ages. The thread supply in the UK has been quite difficult actually, just this last few months, obviously for reasons that we all know about, but to get hold of the threads for that one, it's been quite difficult. So I think that's me nearly finished with that one. So once Mania is out of the way, I will be wanting to start Manor at Peacock Hill. And then last two things I picked up was some fabric. I just got some black 28 count for the seed packets, the Stitching with the Housewives seed packets, the ones that made by Michelle McGraw showed when she made them actual proper seed packets and she made them rattly. So I picked up some 28 count black, which is going to be interesting. I don't know if I've actually ever sewn on straight black before. And then I picked this up just on a bit of a whim because I knew they had it. And Scarlet House has just released 3 charts, and one of them is a sampler stitched on Aztec Red by Weeks Dye Works, and I knew that Patchwork Rabbit had some, so I grabbed some. And then this morning when this arrived and I saw how gorgeous it was, I grabbed some more as well. Right, let me just see the board. There we go. So this is a 36 count because that was what was available, and I like 36 count the best anyway. Look at that. It's actually not as bright as it's showing because I've got the sun streaming in. So it's this sort of amazing darker red. I don't know if I can even get it into a spot where it's about right. Maybe about there. And when it arrived this morning, I literally went straight back on and ordered another bit. So yeah, and I'll put the put a picture of the actual chart up. It's not even out in the UK yet, but as soon as I saw it was on Aztec Red, I was like, that looks amazing, I want to stitch it on the Aztec Red. And I think from what was said in the comments on Instagram that I just picked up a fat eighth, that'll be more than enough. So there it is. And that's the end of me today. I hope you have a lovely week. I hope that you get lots and lots of stitching in, and I will see you next week. Stay classy, stitchers.